Hello friends, in this video we will explore histogram. So histogram applies on continuous data. Okay, so basically what it does, like it divides the data into different beans, and within each bean it counts like how many such observations are there. For example, in this example, let's say the x-axis is d1, and d1, let's say d1 scales from 0 to 6 or something. So then what it will do, it will divide them into different bean, and within bean it will count how many observations. So we can see that most of them observation, the highest number of observations are between these to this value of d1, and then followed by this, then followed by this, followed by this, like that. So now you can see that probability of, the frequency of observing values between this to this bin, or that means this bin is less, and similarly sorry, probability of observing this value is also less, and the probability of observing this value is high. So you can see that there is a pattern. You can see like the distribution looks like this. So histogram will tell you like how within each bin the number of count varies. Okay, and it applies on the continuous data scale, so that we can see the histogram of mutation d1, d2, d3, d4, d5 and d6. And the function which it geometric underscore histogram is the function or the geometry layer that will be used in the ggplot2 function. So the command is simple. First argument is the data frame, and then we pass only x, because the x-axis will be the d1, for example here, and y, the count will be automatically calculated, so we need just only one aesthetic. So simply pass x equal to d1, and once the aesthetic mapping is finished, then we pass the function or add the layer geometric histogram. So this way this will give the histogram of d1. So let's do that. So just looking at the data set, we have this data frame. Okay, so now say ggplot, first argument is the data frame, then we say aesthetic mapping and x equal to d1, and then we say geometric underscore histograms. Okay, so now this will do the histogram of this thing, and you can see that by default it was, the data was divided into 30 bins. Okay, what it means, 30 bins means, let's say the scale is like 0 to 4. Okay, so we can quickly check, just one second, type a summary function. If you take df, so it will give coming to d1, the summary, like the minimum is equal to 0.2 and maximum equal to 4. So the scale is range from 0.2 to 4, and what happened, what the histogram did, it divided this into 30 bins. Okay, 0.2 to 4 divided into 30 bins, and within each bin the frequency is calculated. So we can see that there are some peaks in this region. That means there are this kind of bimodal distribution. You can see there is a peak over here, and followed by this peak, and there is a small peak over here and a small peak over here. So this way, it looks the distribution, that majority of them are in this area, and you can see there is a right skewedness is there. So histogram will tell us a lot about the data distribution. So if you want for d2, we can simply replace the of d2, like how the d2 will distribute. So now you can see the it is different pattern looks like. Similarly, d3 will have a different histogram. So okay, so histogram we can do this way. Next, we can add one more aesthetic color, and simply if you give one means like monocolor, like color equal to let's say red color, so color will applies to the border color, and fill will be applied to this one, the rectangle, the filling. So we can also specify, let's say fill is with respect to red color. So now you will see this will now change to red color. Okay, so now we can also change the bin width. Okay, so now by default it was 30 bins were there, so we can change the bin width, and since it is the property of histogram, it is not an aesthetic mapping, so we have to pass it within here. So bin width, let's say you play with 0.1. okay, so now you see 0.1, and you increase the bin width 0.2, let's say 0.5. so now you have less number of bin, this thing 0.8 means even 4 bins it is divided. Okay, 0.9 is even lesser number of bin, and you can see that as the bin size changing, the shape of the distribution is also changing. So let's say if I make to in this example 0.01, even smaller, even very small. So this is between 0 to 1. Okay, So now you can see that there are so many bins, and within that we see the different distribution frequency. So it is important that you can change the bin width to change the shape, and you can have a different inference at different bin values. Okay, so this is the parameter which you have to pass within the histogram function. So now okay, so we can flip the orientation. Sometimes this kind of thing, let's say we want to flip it, so simply what we have to do, instead of x you have to say that map y axis to d1. Okay, so it will now simply flip it. Okay, so it will flip from this to this direction. Okay, now okay, so now what we can do, so far we have seen only fill is with respect to one simple color we give. Okay, so now if we give fill is with respect to pathway. Okay, so what will happen now, we have now two variable. Okay, and by default I am removing the bin width just to see. So now you see it is kind of stacked histogram. Okay, it is now stacking of histogram. So but this plot is not that useful, we cannot see it much information, but yeah, this will give you a stacked this thing. But if now we put it in facet wrap, okay, so now we will see that facet wrap is with respect to pathway. Okay, so now the plot will be split with respect to pathway, and within each pathway how the D1 distribution will look like. So now we can see that here the shape is different, and here the shape is different, so that way. Okay, furthermore, if we want let's say fill is with respect to pathway and facet wrap with respect to GDR, this will give a very complex histogram information. So basically the plot is separated it out as per the what is this GDR plot is split into based on GDR, and within that you have a stacked histogram based on the pathway. Okay, so yeah, this is very difficult and complex to infer, so it is better to give facet wrap of the same observation, so that we will get a plot like this. Okay, so yeah, and one more thing is there, so there is one more parameter is there, that is scales equal to free underscore x. Yeah, I did not mention that. So now you see that the scales are common scales, everything is common scale. So now we say that scale equal to free underscore x. So what will happen, each will have its own the scale. Okay, so we have scale free. So you can see that each of these pathways are of different scales. Now you see pathway 5 is of scale between 0 to 3, and this one is from 0 to 3, but here the scale is different, 0 to 2, and here also the scale is between 0 to 2.5. So now when we say scale free, the automatically each will be independent of each other, and everyone like each box will be have its own scale. Okay, so yeah, so that's all about this thing. So what we have seen so far, like first we saw the histogram, then we saw that giving the color to the border, then changing the bin width, then changing the orientation, then the stacked histogram, then using facet wrapping to split them into different facets, then using the scale free, so that each of these will be different on different scales. So in the next video we will focus on, or we'll explore density plot, which is similar to histogram, but it's the frequency is converted to the probability density, so that we will get something like that. So it will say that how much area is dense, so that way, so it will show the different density distribution of the data. So we'll see in the next video. So thanks for watching. So yeah, thanks a lot. We'll see you in the next video.